What's up, guys? It's Simon. So, today we're going to be talking about witching your way out and witching through obstacles. And I do want to warn you guys, it is a bit rambly. I tend to kind of divert and talk about something else for a little bit, but I do hope that this is helpful. I know that a lot of the things that I'll be sharing is stuff that I do personally, so without further ado, let's continue with the video. So, I was actually kind of thinking about not bothering with a video today, or uploading one of these pre-recorded videos for the last day of Yulemas, rather. But, I really didn't want to upload that one. I kind of thought it needed to be on its own. And, I was in a bad headspace. I was angry. I was a little depressed. I was a little emotional, and I know a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're going back into retrograde, because every time we go into retrograde, my emotions get all over the place, most likely because I'm an empath. Actually, I know for sure that that is the reason why. So, between cooling down and watching some YouTube videos, I kind of realized, it's only going to hurt myself if I'm not doing the video, because I enjoy making videos. So I'm trying to think. It was a video that Ravenflower did not too long ago. I don't know. I know I'm behind on watching people's videos, but she did this video about talking about not necessarily witching your way out, but she did touch upon that, and it's been a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while, so I thought this would be a good time, better than any, right? So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about first was a good way of how to deal with the retrograde. And I'm going to get out some crystals for you guys, and I'm going to talk about why they will be good to use during this time. And the first one that I want to talk about, it's probably not going to show up very well in here, especially since I'm not using daylight. As I said earlier, I was actually planning on not doing a video today, but I changed my mind, so do forgive the lighting. But yeah, the first one I'm going to talk about is lepidolite. It's this purpley stone. It's actually kind of sparkly, but I don't think it's showing up on the camera. But lepidolite is very good for bringing about emotional balance, which is very important during this time. During this time, you have Mercury, which I believe has a lot of iron in it. I can't remember the chemical makeup of it right now, but it does something where it disrupts the being groundedness, making situations and emotions and thoughts all being scattered. So it's really good to deal with bringing back yourself into harmony, especially your emotions into harmony. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up first is because it's also a really good woman's stone. Menopause, menstruation, I believe even labor and pregnancy. I could be wrong, check that for sure. But definitely menstruation and menopause, this is really good for. So I like to call this kind of like the woman's balancing stone. And then I use, well, that's not the one I wanted to talk about now. There it is. Then I like to use blue kyanite. This is a raw piece, and this is the one I kind of suggest to men. And the reason why is because, well, technically you can use either one, to be honest with you, but I do push that lepidolite for women because of how intertwined and useful it is for the other womanly needs, whereas this one, um, I kind of feel that kyanite has a more masculine energy to it, and also it's just, I kind of feel that this helps, to me it kind of helps bring the logic back. So it brings emotional balance, but it also kind of brings about some logic. At least that's how it works with me. Um, Another good stone to work with, actually I'll just do that one first. Another stone that I like to use for the retrograde is smoky quartz. I like to use this, especially the point, because I kind of feel like it helps bring you back down. And you can actually take the point and go from top chakra to down chakra. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. To crown chakra, or the soul star chakra, and draw straight down to your root chakra, or even the earth star chakra. With a point, as I said earlier, and that'll really help realign them and also bring it back down to earth. Really good for earthing or grounding or centering, whatever word you use, just to stop yourself from being so haywire and being so anxious or confused or agitated or uptight or anything like that. And also, it helps you stay earthed, so that way it's not depleting you of energy, because when you get emotional and reactionary, that exerts a lot of energy at once, which makes you depleted. So, definitely carry around one of these. You can also use black tourmaline. That's a good earthing stone. I actually use mine for my dyslexia, because it helps. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but it kind of feels like it calms the mind. It's almost like the mind gets anxious or whatever, and where you start stuttering over your words, or you start flip-flopping the letters, and all this stuff that happens with dyslexia. It's almost like it helps calm the mind and purify the mind and bring about a more calm focus. But you could also use that to earth yourself and to be more coherent during this time. Another one is, I just forgot the name for this. Unakite. This is green and red stone. It's really good. It's a stone of vision, and it helps you earth yourself. It's also good for past life work. But it's actually really good during this time, and I use this as my Yule crystal. It's the crystal that I work with during the Yule time specifically. I mean, not only during the Yule time, but primarily. So, that's a good stone to use. Some crystals you may want to stay away from or use sparingly are citrine and any high vibratory crystals. I'm trying to find another one. Like, selenite. Definitely stay away from meteorite, numite, merlinite, and auralite 23. All those extremely high vibratory crystals. Citrine and selenite, even though they're high vibratory crystals, you don't have to worry so much, because it's just that, because they are cleansing. They're self-cleansing, so they're good for keeping you cleansed. And this is also good for, I use this to kind of keep mental clarity and focus. So I do tend to use this all the time. And right now oops. Uh-oh. I dropped my carnelian. But I also use carnelian. That may be one you want to be careful around as well. But I've already enchanted them for specific use. So I'm not too worried about going haywire. Plus I have my blue kyanite in there with it, my unikite, my tourmaline, and my smoky quartz. So I'm definitely very earthed, and so I'm not too worried about those high energy crystals because they're not. I like to call. How do I say this? I like to call auralite and merlinite and numite and tektite and moldavite and all of those. I like to call those the wild energy crystals because they're so intense. Whereas the creative crystals and the ones like selenite and citrine, even though they are high energy, specifically citrine and selenite and amethyst, even though they're on a high energy level, it's not nearly as high or intense as the other ones I mentioned. So they are a little more safer to use, but you might, depending on how sensitive you are and how experienced you are with yourself, whether you're an empath or what have you, you may want to take some precaution. And definitely make sure that you either use them sparingly or use them for a specific purpose, and not just like use it as a what am I trying to say? Use it as like just a crystal to work with, just to energize with and all that. So, that's one thing that I wanted to talk about during this time. Another crystal you may want to use to kind of just help you stay calm and peaceful and guided and protected is celestite or angelite or any of those gentle but high vibratory crystals. That are on the more angelic. It's high vibratory, but it's more slow paced, I guess is what a better way to explain it. The energy is very vibrant and high, but it disperses slowly. So whereas Auralite 23 and Moldavite are high vibrations, it's rapidly dispersed. I hope that's making sense. So that's what I wanted to share as one of the things today. Another thing I'd like to share is I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to share was when you get in those funks, it's a good idea to cleanse yourself. Now, I haven't done so yet, but there's a few ways that you can do that, and a lot of this I've mentioned in other videos, so I'll link those below, as well as Ravenflower's channel, so go check her out. But you know, there's a few things you can do. You can do like a little spa spell work, and I like to call it that because what you can do is you can take some bath salts and take a bath, or you can wash your face or body with the bath salt as a way to smudge and cleanse yourself. Now, I mentioned about smudge salt in my smudging without smoke video, so that'll be one that I'll link below. Another way you could use that is smudge water. Now, I mentioned that in that video as well. You could also use a smudge oil and massage yourself and kind of like massage the stress away. I'm trying to think, what else can you do? Oh, you know, you could do a candle spell. You like my ring? It's copper wire and a juniper berry. Decided to wear that today. It's good for protection, of course, and all that good stuff. but I'm going to try and take it off so I can show you guys better. That's my little makeshift bookshelf. And that's my prosperity altar. But, yeah. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here. But, that's the juniper berry and the copper wire. And a ring. But, it's a pretty big juniper berry, actually. But, yeah, so that's some stuff you can do. You know, do a little, some type of cleansing. You can make a sage tea. I've done that before. That's actually really good. I used to actually do a weekly sage tea ritual, and that does wonders. If you can afford that, definitely, excuse me, definitely consider doing that. And oh, another thing you can do is anoint yourself with some blessed water, holy water. You could also just use goddess water, or full moon water, whatever you want to call it. Now, blessed water and goddess water are two different things. The blessed water is also called holy water or hallowed water. I think I've even heard it called sanctified water or something like that. But the goddess water, that's basically full moon water. So that's a little different. Now, some people either confuse the two or use it as one and the same. So what they'll do is they'll, you know, use their goddess water or full moon water as excuse me, as their blessed water or holy water, or they'll take it and make it into holy water. So yeah, there's a few things you can do with that. You could also just use rainwater and just do like a little gentle cleansing. You could do a sponge bath with the rainwater or with any type of sacred water, and just cleanse yourself that way. Trying to think, what else could you do? You could also do like a little magic dolly spell work, where you make a little voodoo doll or a puppet or an effigy or whatever you know suits your fancy, and you can do a little spell jar and cleanse yourself that way. Like now I'd be careful about doing that because I accidentally left this in there. Well, actually, I didn't mean to put my dolly in there, and now it's been neutralized, so I'm gonna have to re-enchant it and with my energy again and reconnect it to being an external representation of myself. But so just be careful if you're using the dolly in that way, because you can end up breaking the connection of yourself and the dolly, which is good, but for certain things. And with this thing, that's not what you're going for, so be careful with that. Like I said, you could do a simple candle spell. You can just work with crystals. This is also a good time to do a chakra alignment. Now, I'm not going to talk about that right now, because I'm going to do a follow-up video later on in the YouTube Pagan Challenge. But I did want to bring that up now. You can... I might have already said this, but you can smudge yourself. So I only use pieces of my smudge wand to make it last longer, because I don't need to burn the whole thing anyway. And so what you can do is you can take a piece of it, or take the whole thing and light it and smudge it, and you know, go counterclockwise from top to bottom and bottom to top, and get all that debris off of you. And I don't know what's going on. I kind of feel like I'm talking a little softly. I don't really know what's going on with my throat right now, but it's not sore or anything, but I don't know, maybe it's tired and weak from what happened earlier today. But this is a video that I'm doing kind of on the spot. Oh. one more thing. This does have to do with crystals. Okay, two more things. So you can obviously always take clear quartz and do meditations with that. But another good thing to do is to take 2 pieces of rose quartz. I hope that's coming up well. But you can take 2 pieces of rose quartz and hold them in both hands and do a good meditation that way too. Especially if you've been angry or agitated, you know, any of those strong negative emotions, they'll help bring you back into a positive setting. And another thing you can do, or even incorporate in conjunction to that crystal meditation, is making a circle with 6 quartz points. And what you can do is that you can, I'm going to take one out for you guys. What you can do is have them all pointing outwards and have them direct that energy away from you, you know, so push the energy out and have the crystals direct it away from you, and then while you're meditating with the rose quartz, fill yourself up with the rose quartz energy, and that way, you know, you're realigning yourself. Or you could also do that same thing and just lay down and do a chakra healing. Lay all the crystals on their appropriate chakra point and have the clear points doing the same thing. So, I think that's actually everything. Yeah. You could also, I lied, okay. But you could also work with the phoenix. You could ask, you know, if you don't have any crystals, or, you know, you don't have any stones. I'm trying to think, I don't have any stones over here. Well, we can use this one. You can get a white stone, or an ivory. Actually, I would get an ivory stone. Well, this is ivory, actually. Yeah, this is ivory. It looks white on here, but it's actually ivory. You can get yourself an ivory stone, especially one that has like this pointed shape. And what you can do is you can, actually, this is a good size because it's kind of flat on side, and you can use it as like an eraser and erase all that psychic debris, all that negativity that's on you, or like lay it on like your mind and on your intuitive eye chakra, on your etheric heart chakra, or if you don't work with that one, then your regular heart chakra, and on your either your solar plexus or your root chakra. You know, put it on each of those points. Choose the 3 that work for you. Basically, what you're trying to do is get it from mind, body, and soul. So I would do the intuitive eye, the root chakra, and the etheric heart chakra. Because the etheric heart chakra is where your soul resides. You know, your spiritual mind's in the 3rd eye, and your spirit's in the solar plexus, and the grounding or the earthing of your body and all that happens with the root chakra. So that's why you would work with the root chakra for your body. And what you could do is, you know, at each of those points, sit that white rock, that ivory rock, the white rock, whatever rock you have that you feel would work for this, sit on there for about anywhere from 15 seconds to 30 seconds or more. Ideally more would be better, until it feels right for you, until it feels that it's all gone and you can move on to the next spot. And do all 3 at least, and then I suggest that you bury the stone, or you at least put it near a tree, at the roots of a tree or something like that, so it can get, the energy can be put into the earth and it gets transmuted into neutral energy, and it doesn't stay harbored into the stone. Because you can exhaust a stone too, just like a crystal, you know, so that's why you have to take care of them. But yeah, so I kind of wanted just to talk about, you know, witching your way out. And I'm actually going to continue with this video and kind of smash it up with another one that I wanted to talk about. Another thing I wanted to talk about was, I was actually going to make it a separate video, but I think I'll just tie it into this one. I am going to talk about witching through obstacles, which is kind of like witching your way out, but it's a little different. It's different in the sense where if you're living in an apartment that doesn't allow you to burn candles, or the person you're living with may have health problems, and you can't light incense and candles and all that. I want to talk about ways that you can still light candles and incense, and then also talk about ways that you can do things in place of lighting incense and candles. So, the first thing I want to talk about is, well, one, you could do the candles and incense outside, especially during the spring and summer, even autumn time, depending on what your winter is like. You can, like I said, do it outside, maybe create an outside space, or find a space that feels sanctuary-like to you, and you can do it outside and honor the spirits or deity or whatever it is that way. It gives you time with nature, which is very important when you're walking the pagan path or even the witch's path. So, I wanted to talk about that first. Another thing is get crafty with your oils. Now, I can only reach this one right now, but this is my own personal oil that represents me as a witch. So, get crafty with making oils, especially ones that are scented. Try working with essential oils if you have the money to pay for them. Craft your own oils. You know, you can do that yourself. Like, where is it? Dollar Tree has these really cheap bottles. And do forgive me for saying all the time. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But, okay. Where was I? But yeah, Dollar Tree and the GW, they always are having bottles and stuff like that. I can't really show. Oh wait, yes I can. Hold on. So, I got this bottle. It's a cork bottle, and it's green, and I got this from the Dollar Tree for $1, and it's got cool design work on it. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's kind of got like that really cool, like, British flag looking like design work on it. And I have bigger ones too. I have 4 of those size, one clear, that green one, an orange one, and a blue one. And then I have bigger ones of clear, green, orange, and it's like a wine cranberry color. And all of those were $1, and that's 8 bottles for $8. 4 like really large ones. The large ones, okay, so this one is the smaller one, and it's about an inch taller than a novena candle or a 7-day candle. So the big ones are probably maybe about 2 novena candles, maybe a novena candle and a half in size. So yeah, do stuff like that. You know, you can get, I can't reach that jar from here, but Dollar Tree also has mason jars. And you know what? Hold on, I'm getting back and get some of these bottles. Okay, so I got these bottles around. So, Dollar Tree has these plain mason jars for $1. Okay? So you can, and I will be honest, they're only this size, but it's a really good size. It's about, what is it? I think it's the pint. I'm almost positive that's a pint. But you can get those for $1 and keep your herbs, make tinctures in these. You know, you have no excuse to not be able to witch. no matter how broke you are, no matter how difficult it is, if you're broke and you can't buy for things, I mean, you can't buy bottles or whatever, go in your neighborhood. Do the earth a service and clean up your neighborhood. That's what I did, and I got this bottle, and it's glass. Okay? So, and don't just clean up like your block. Clean up your neighborhood. Go around the stores. Go around the different blocks and the different streets. If you have permission to do so. If you're too young to do that and you're only allowed to go on your block, then respect your parents and stay on the block. But if you have the ability, then try going out and cleaning up your neighborhood, and you will be gifted things for nature. And this is a good way to I actually got this when I first started practicing. I didn't put a lot of money towards my stuff, and I found this free, and I made my oil out of it. And this is a really good oil. This is my mental clarity oil. It's just phenomenal. But also reuse bottles. This one was a sherry wine bottle and a cooking wine, and my mom didn't want it anymore and poured it out, and I kept the bottle, and I made originally my black cat oil, but now I make my white cat oil out of here. Dollar Tree, spend $1, and you can get this really awesome witchy looking bottle. The GW, Goodwill, got this tea cork bottle from there for, I think, $2. Or if you have, you don't want a big bottle and you have money to spare, go on eBay and look up half-ounce size bottles. I got 20 for about, I think, $14, $15 and free shipping. There was a hair on my phone, but so like there's really no excuse for you to not be able to do anything. There really isn't. If you want runes, get some stones and draw on them. It's just as magical. Does it look fancy? Does it look witchy? No. But witches of old did the same thing. Yes, they didn't have Sharpies, but they would, engrave on the stone, or maybe take a stone and scratch the symbols on their stones and make runes that way. They didn't, it was a long time before crystals were found and used and affordable. Okay, so they use stone magic, so there's no excuse for you to not be able to do something. There's free stuff out there, there's cheap stuff out there. Witchcraft isn't expensive. It's only expensive if you're making it expensive, but it doesn't have to be. And honestly, as long as you invest in yourself and you respect the god and the goddess or whatever form of deity you work with, as long as you respect them and you respect the earth and yourself and those around you, you'll be provided for, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be a proud witch. I mean, be proud of being a witch, but don't be an egotistical, proud witch, okay? When you do stuff like that, that's when you start to run into issues and problems and standoffishness from others. So, I'm going to talk a little more about incense. Forgot to grab this stuff. Hold on. Ouch. So, what you can always do is grab branches like a holly branch, and you can smudge with that. You can take, well, I don't have one over here. Oh wait, yes I do. You can go in your kitchen and get a bay leaf. You can do a simple spell with this. Put your intentions into the bay leaf. Now I'm not going to do that because this one already has intentions, but you can put your intentions in the bay leaf and burn this, and it will actually smell good, so you'll get that incense feel, and you'll be doing spell work at the same time. And you can get bay leaves at the Dollar Tree or Dollar General or Walmart. any grocery store. Depending on your grocery store, you might even be able to get the fresh plant versions and dry them out yourself. And as you're drying them out, you can enchant them and use them for a specific purpose. There's no excuse for you to not be able to witch your way out of things. None. You know, if you... trying to think, what else can you do? If maybe you don't want to work with stones or something, you can do divination with dice. I haven't learned that yet. But you can do it, you know. You can also, if you don't have money to buy dice, you're really that broke, you can do it out of salt dough. You can make almost anything out of salt dough. You can make your statues out of salt dough. I did mine actually out of salt dough. Unfortunately, they didn't last very long because they didn't, well, the god one didn't dry out properly, so it ended up molding a bit. But if you dry it out properly, they'll last you a long time. But yeah, you can make salt dough dice. You can make salt dough runes. Like I said, deity statues, an altar tile, candle holders. I'm trying to think what's it. You may be able to make a cauldron, but you definitely would have to put salt or, I'm just trying to think of cheap ways. You could put dirt down. You could put eggshells down. Well, maybe not eggshells. Yeah, don't do eggshells because they might be able to burn. But you could do dirt. You could do sand. You could do, what did I just say? Salt. Trying to think, what else could you do? You could use, coal. Trying to think, what else? I don't know what else you could use as a base, but you definitely want to put a base if it's going to be a salt dough one, and try and do research on that, or at least definitely be careful, because I don't know for sure if you can do a salt dough cauldron and have it be safe. You might be able to for fire, but only small fires like candle magic in the cauldron or incense in the cauldron, not to burn something in the cauldron, because it could affect the walls of it, and you definitely don't want to use anything wet. So you will be limited if you're making things from salt dough, but it's still effective, you know. I'm trying to think, you probably wouldn't be able to make a chalice. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't be able to put any liquids in it. But you can get a chalice at the Dollar Tree. That's where mine came from. My first one came from there. And I don't remember what happened to it. But the one I have now came from there as well. I mean, so, like, you don't have to spend a lot. You know? You don't, you know. My first altar table was an end table. It's actually what's being used as my aerial shrine right now. But it was a hand-me-down. It was given to me by one of my mom's exes, and I cleansed it. In fact, I think I actually still do this to this day. If you can't even afford sage or salt or anything like that, or you want to keep your herbs for spell use only because you don't have the money to continually fill them up, work with the sun and the moon. You can smudge things through the sun and the moon. In fact, I still do it to this day. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm gonna wrap this up before it cuts me off again, but, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You know, you don't need to wait till you're in your 30s or 40s and having your own house and a stable job and all that, where you have lots of money to spare, to put money aside to getting stuff. You don't have to do that. You can do it now in high school, with just an allowance. You don't need a lot of money. You just need dedication, heart, soul, and mind focused, and a willing to learn and willing to experience, and just be careful. Really, that's all you need. I still use the sun and moon to cleanse things and stuff like that. So, you know, just be mindful, think outside the cauldron, and you should be all right, my dear witchlings. You know, Never let any one thing or circumstance take away your power, because that's what being a witch is all about, is reclaiming your life, reclaiming your power. And I'm going to end this video with my affirmation spell. It wasn't mine own. I did find it. I tweaked it a bit, and I kind of want to share it with you guys. And it goes, now is the time, now is the hour. I am the magic, I claim my power. 'Tis the will of me, so mote it be. And if you didn't understand that, I'll write it below. And remember to check out those links. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it if you think it's going to help someone. And comment below anything that you thought was helpful, or anything you want to share with other people who will be watching this. And as always, thank you for watching, and blessed be my dear witchlings.